Maytag repairman, you look so lonely. So what's our agenda? Oh, look, that's the budget. Is that the handout? I thought they were different. Great. I was wondering what motion to adjourn. Yeah, we did. Vigils and feel like and no meeting edition. Actually, I got at the hard point deck. I thought it was like really well done. Oh, where? There at the small chapel.
1, 2.
Yes, it's a big, just a big thing. I think there are 50 seats, and then you also have a few staff. You know, between 50 and 20. A few people have not come back in person, so they said, but it sucks to be on Zoom for that. So, which basically you can zoom in if you want to, but it really is the experience just sucks. Hybrid meetings are the absolute worst because we try to ask a question. Here's you. It's like, I think the little person in the who's trying to. There's somebody waving their arm. Yeah, and then they go to the camera on, and like, microphone's on, and like, it just. You're on mute. Yeah, yeah, no, that's how we do it. Yeah, I had to zoom in, I think it was once, and it was like, oh my God. I mean, when it was, everything was Zoom, okay. But hybrid meetings, with everyone sitting around the table, you can't see the people. It's just it's not a projector, it's just a TV. At least you can do it. The nice thing is, like, we're in stuff. We can zoom into meetings. Most of my meetings are purely online conversations. Very rare. It's like the JCRC. We made a decision. It works so well for me and those people who go to the JCC. We get people all over the valley. Like everyone said, Zoom is better.
Well, that's how it is for JFN. Because we have so many people who are working.
And that's the truth. It only takes 1 hour to do rather than 2 hours.
Yeah, because then you're going to drive and meet and drive.
Yeah, there's like some meeting going on. It's in person like 2 weeks from now on Wednesday noon. And I'm like, in person. I'm like, not this full day. Like that's not. I could carve out the hour, but I couldn't carve out this time to like drive down to Tempe for a meeting. Like I do deep set. Not happening. Don't kill the mic.
You'll sit there and then,
Yeah, I
Okay.
think or at least until I'm done with my stuff, and then maybe I'll.
okay. Erev Tov, good evening. Hello. Okay. We're gonna start the meeting. Okay. I'm gonna try to get all of your attention and keep your attention for the next hour maybe, along with a number of other board members and the rabbi. So it's really nice to see everybody. I thank you guys for coming. And I'd also like to thank everybody at home that's streaming. And for our friends and family that are streaming at home, I just want to remind you that we have some handouts here in the sanctuary. And when you go back to the webpage, you'll see there's some attachments there. So in case you've missed those, I will talk real slow so you can go look for those now. Okay? But you'll find all the attachments on there. Great. Okay. So we are really going to just talk a little bit about what's going on with the temple, state of the affairs, some of the progress we've been making, some of the plans for the future, and also share some news with you. Okay? But we'll do that later on. Okay? I got to keep your attention until then. Okay? Is that fair? Great. Thank you. First off, I would, just like to, welcome all of you here. We've got a lot of stuff to cover. We're going to be around for questions. I know I saw a few of you at the April board meeting that we did, where we encouraged people to come. Then we did a virtual Q&A meeting in April. So we just want to make sure that, we're listening to everybody, that we're giving everybody a chance to learn what's going on, and want to make sure that we're really accessible to everybody. So I just want to say thank you. And with that, I'm going to ask Rabbi Siegel to share some thoughts with us as we begin the meeting. Thank you.
So our Torah portion this week is a doubled portion, Bahar Bechukotai, and it is from the book of Leviticus. And the portion begins with a description of the sabbatical or Shemitah year, the command that for 6 years the Israelites may tend their fields, harvest their fields, and in the 7th year they are to let them lie fallow. And this is followed by the command that after 7 cycles of those 7 years, there was to be an extra year, the Jubilee year, or the Yovel, where the fields would again lie fallow, and debts would be forgiven, and the land would return to ancestral holdings if it had been sold out of that. The Shemitah year and the Yovel year would have not only been periods when fields would lie fallow, and not only would that Yovel Jubilee year have been almost like a giant reset button, but these would have also been periods when the Israelites had the time to pause and reflect, looking back over a period of time that had just passed and looking ahead to the days to come. And though we don't have a year or a cycle of years just tonight, we have an hour-ish together, we too have a chance to pause and reflect on the year that has passed since the last annual meeting and to look ahead to plans for the year to come. As I look back over the year that's passed, I am filled with gratitude. In the 10+ months since I joined Temple Chai, everything special that drew me to this precious community has been confirmed. The deep community of care, our down-to-earth sensibility, our community's ethos of welcome and embrace for people from all backgrounds and with all identities, the beautiful community of learners that we have, the desire that we have for spiritual exploration, and the importance of working for wholeness and justice in our world, as well as the skilled and passionate team of clergy and staff, lay leaders and volunteers, and so much more. My sense of these wonderful and unique qualities of our community have been confirmed and deepened time and time again through these early days. And I want to say a big thank you to each of you for opening your arms and your hearts to Scott and to me and to the kids. It means the world. The timing of my joining the congregation last summer coincided with a fuller reentry after the 2+ years of the pandemic that the congregation and that the world had experienced. And we could all feel the community itching to be back together in person as much as possible for those able to be joining together in person. And I could tell that in this moment and for the future of our Temple High community, we needed to prioritize building relationships, deepening the fabric of relationships for folks of all ages within our congregation, and reinvigorating our social action and social justice programming. At the same time, I wanted to be sure that we were deepening our roots, those elements of our community programs, ways of doing things precious to Temple High, and reaching upward to new heights as well. Imagine a tree, the tree of life perhaps, because I'm a rabbi, with roots reaching deep into the soil, watered by the history of the congregation and the love of our community, and branches reaching outward and upward as we expand and reach and try new things. This year we deepened our roots with meaningful prayer lab experiences, the wonderful ongoing work of the dedicated volunteers and meaningful programs and services of our Elisa Lane's Caring Community and the Shalom Center, the return of Levites singing after Shabbat, B'Yachad programs during religious school to engage not only the students but parents, and our wonderful retreats, the innovative twist on a religious school retreat, the STEM retreat, which we called STEAM Tirtzu. Get it? Like Im Tirtzu, the song STEAM Tirtzu. Our family retreat, women's retreat, men's retreat. We had Torah study and Musar, Pirkei Avot, and healing services. We supported each other in times of difficulty and celebrated joys together. Our roots are deep and strong. And I wanted to highlight a few of the initiatives and actions we've taken this year toward the goals that we set together at the outset of my time of deepening relationships, of engaging in social action, and of broadening our reach. First, as we came back together after this period of the pandemic, it was clear that we needed to engage and re-engage the youth of our congregation, the youth and families. And one of the first steps we took after I arrived was to work out the structure so that we could restart our youth groups, TICTI for high schoolers, TICTI Junior for middle schoolers, and we started as well our new youth group for 3rd through 5th graders, TICTI Mini. We were lucky that Chi Isiagu stepped into her role as our full-time program director after her role in the Shalom Center before, so including that and expanding. And she oversaw our youth and family engagement programming, as well as she ran TICTI Mini this year, and Zach Abrams advised both TICTI and TICTI Junior. And we had wonderful success with the beginning of these programs. Add that to the incredible programming that Amanda Campbell and her faculty and staff run in our religious school, and it engages our kids and teens so meaningfully in such a fun way. Temple High is on the map as a wonderful place for kids and families. I want to note in particular that TICTI Mini has had a wonderful beginning this year, that 3rd through 5th grade youth group, with an average of 20 or more kids attending every event monthly. And they're eager, they're always asking when the next event is, my 5th grader among them. In the year to come, as Zach Abrams needs to cut back a bit with the baby at home, and she needs to be able to focus on the other elements of her program director role, we will be hiring a part-time youth group advisor specifically to run our 3 youth groups and really be able to focus on that population. And in order to engage families and kids in the spiritual life of our congregation, we created our new Dorot services on the High Holy Days and on Shabbat. Dorot means generations, and those are our new, I think of them as our everybody-friendly services, good for folks of all ages, heavy on music, heavy on fun, including a story rather than a sermon. And on Shabbat, we followed them with congregational dinners. And it's been really exciting to see folks of all generations engaged in these services. We just had one this past Friday night as we honored our teachers as well, and to feel the energy in the sanctuary and continuing on into the dinner afterward has been a real treat throughout this year, and it's been a really lovely engagement we look forward to building on in the year to come. We also have re-engaged in our social action and social justice efforts with Chi at the helm. And so not only did we continue many beloved social action programs such as PB and Fluff, and taking a leading role in the Pride Parade. Thank you, Cantor and Kat and Michelle and the leaders of AZ Juice for Pride. But we also have two new initiatives I want to highlight. The first is that we are a pilot congregation for the ADL's Kulanu program, and we have a wonderful group of volunteers from the congregation who are working together to create programs to educate our community about anti-Semitism and to combat anti-Semitism as well. So if you don't already have it on your calendars, I hope you will put 9 a.m. on May 21st, Sunday, May 21st on your calendar for the first Kulanu program. It will be an important opportunity to learn and to act. And I also want to mention that we are partnering with Bethel Congregation to sponsor and help a Ukrainian refugee family in partnership with HIAS. This will mean that we will have the opportunity not only to donate funds, but to volunteer based on the specific needs of the family with which we are matched. So we are waiting to be matched with the refugee family, and when we are, we will jump into action together in support of this family, helping them settle in and tending to their needs along with our partners at Bethel Congregation. What meaningful opportunities we have to heal our broken world and to help those in need. One other opening I saw for meaningful programming this year was to have even more drop-in friendly adult learning experiences, particularly on topics relevant to the moment or what's happening in the world. So in addition to several individual learning programs, I was pleased to start our monthly Second Cup series, which happens on Sunday mornings during religious school once a month, where presumably folks have had their first cup of coffee at home and they can have their second cup with me here at Temple as we discuss what's happening, whether it's a world event or something in the Jewish world or a topic of interest. We've had about 12 to 20 people each time join our programs, and it's been really meaningful to have an opportunity to talk about relevant topics, and we'll look forward to continuing that in the year to come. And finally, I want to mention how this year also saw the beginning of our Chai Connect Circles program. That's our small group initiative that we kicked off on the High Holy Days. So we have members coming together over a shared interest or a similar life moment in small groups with the opportunity to build relationships and friendships, and again, to deepen the fabric of relationship in the congregation. So we currently have 10 active Chai Connect circles, and those range from 7 to 20 participants in those circles, and we have at least 2 more circles in formation. So it's a really exciting growth to see, and if you have an idea for a Chai Connect circle you'd like to start, or you would like to join an already existing circle, you can contact Chi. I could share more and more, but we have a lot that I know we want to cover this evening, and I will not be the only one to speak. But I wanted to very quickly mention a few things that we're looking forward to in the year ahead, things that I'm excited about. Among many things I could share, but I'm going to share 3. One is we are excited that we're establishing a new partnership with the BJE's Hebrew High program for our 9th through 12th grade education. Rabbi Aviva Funke is doing wonderful things with the program at the BJE, really dynamic programming, and we're excited that our high school program will be partnering with Hebrew High, as well as making sure to keep that I get to have confirmation class with me and we maintain the connection to Temple High, but they also get to interact with area kids from all the different congregations and have the meaningful learning of Hebrew High as well. Secondly, we are finalizing details for our next Temple High Israel trip, which will be in late May to early June of this coming year in 2024. My husband, Rabbi Scott Siegel, and I will lead that trip, and we're very excited for that. So if you're interested and you haven't filled out the little online interest form, let me know, and I'll make sure you're in the first group to receive info, but everyone will receive info, don't worry. And finally, I am very excited to share that we are going to be piloting programming in Central Phoenix. kicking things off with a Havdalah program 1 month from today on June 10th. And then starting in earnest with regular programs once or twice a month in the fall, and those are in formation. My wonderful husband, Rabbi Scott Siegel, has agreed to pilot this program for us pro bono. And we have heard there's a real desire among not only our members who live in Central Phoenix, but among the many folks who think of themselves as Reform or Progressive Jews and who are not currently affiliated with a congregation who live in Central Phoenix to have meaningful Jewish programming and Jewish community. And so we're excited to see how this project can develop and what it can mean for meaningfully serving the Jewish community throughout the Phoenix area and for deepening and broadening engagement with Temple High. So those are just a few, just a taste of the many programs and initiatives I'm excited about and we're excited about for the year to come. And I want to conclude with gratitude, as I began with gratitude for this period of time. We are so lucky at Temple High to have an incredible team. And I personally know just how blessed I am to be part of this incredible team of clergy and staff and volunteers. From my precious and soulful clergy partners, Cantor and Rabbi Capel, our wonderful executive director, Wendy Cohen, who has been with us since March and jumped right in with both feet or more than 2 feet somehow. Amanda Campbell and her team of wonderful faculty and staff who inspire love of Judaism in the kids and teens of our congregation. Chi Isiagu has been our Jack or Jane of all trades in her role as program director, creating so many ways to build relationships and make an impact in our world. Leah Linden and Malka Woolman and Kelly Chait and their incredible team of educators who care for and foster a love of Judaism and this deeply engaging environment for the littlest members of our community. And Virginia and Joan and Sheena, who are the not-so-secret forces helping our programs and everything happen at Temple, as well as Sal and Jorge, who literally nothing would happen without their incredible efforts. And I know that as a clergy and staff team, we feel truly blessed to partner together with such dedicated, thoughtful, compassionate, and hardworking lay leaders. Our board, led by our fearless leader, David Weiner, approaches issues facing the congregation with such energy and wisdom and insight. And as a rabbi who's been involved with boards at many congregations, know how blessed we are at Temple High to have this incredible board. And I'm pretty sure David is one of the Lamed Vavniks, one of the 36 righteous that walk the face of this earth. We are very blessed by your leadership. Our incredible team of volunteers who, as we are preparing for our service where we honor volunteers, we realize is hundreds of people within our congregation engaged in volunteering within and through Temple High in one way or another. Our hundreds of volunteers power the congregation, and we're looking forward to honoring them on the 19th. This week's doubled Torah portion I mentioned a few minutes ago is the final portion in the book of Leviticus. And when we conclude a book of Torah, we say, Chazak, Chazak, v'nit chazek. Be strong, and let us strengthen one another. After a period of uncertainty and change, this has been a year of joy and of strength. May the year to come not only be a year of strength, but may we continue to join together in relationship and in mutual care, growing even stronger thereby. May we go from this strength to new strength. Ken Yehi Ratzon, may this be God's will. Amen.
Thank you, Rabbi Siegel. One of the reasons, I was so attracted to Rabbi Siegel, as was the search committee, is when she was in Aspen, I remember you telling us how you grew the congregation there with outreach to different parts of the valley in Aspen. And I'm just so excited about the initiative and want to thank Rabbi Scott Siegel because I think that's going to be exciting. It's going to bring more people in and really giving a service to a broader area. And frankly, where there's no competition, too. So we're really serving a need. Hopefully nobody outside the temple's watching, okay? but it's going to be, I think, be a terrific program, and I thank you guys for spearheading that. Okay. So I'm going to just give some thank yous, and then I promise we're going to get to the building update. Okay? First of all, I'd like to start by really thanking my husband, Robert, for all of your understanding, everything you do. He never complains. Okay? Never complains when I'm coming home late or the meeting goes long, so thank you so much for that. I'd also like to thank, and hopefully I've got all the names right, okay, Matt, Anita, Robin, Emily, Adrian, I know Brent's not here, Ron, Penny, Ari, Esther, Jeremy, Carol, and Dean. All of them are spouses, and they all really support, their partners, their husbands, their wives, and so a big thank you to everybody for your patience, your dedication, and devotion. Okay. I'd be remiss if I didn't thank our guiding lights and our moral compass. We have a great clergy team, and between Rabbi Siegel, Rabbi Capel, and Cantor Wollman, we're really blessed to have their spiritual leadership, their love, their concern. They're all really, national leaders. I mean, Rabbi Siegel with what she does with the Women's Rabbinical Network, Rabbi Capel with everything that she's done with the chaplaincy and representing that group has been phenomenal. And Cantor Wollman has a reputation across the country. So we're lucky to have these kinds of leaders that really bring the best practices back to our temple and really help us grow. So thank you. Okay. And our newest person, Wendy Cohen, if you haven't had a chance to meet her, you're going to see her in the front row. She has a wealth of nonprofit experience here in Phoenix and on the East Coast, and just brings a great perspective. So thank you for your patience in jumping in feet first. We're going to get through it all, and we look forward to your leadership and your insights. Okay, we are a volunteer-led organization, so I thank all of you for really understanding that. We have some wonderful staff, but a lot of the caring is done by volunteers with the support and the cooperation of our professionals, but we always try our best, and I have to tell you, with all of the volunteers we have, whether it was the non-gala, I see Carol there, who was the co-chair of that, I see Michelle Catt, that are here every Friday night. If it wasn't for these volunteers, we would really have a different face. I'd also like to thank Brett Curlin. This is his last term, and he is terming off the board, and he has been a board member for 8 years, so thank you, Brett, if you're at home. We appreciate everything that you've done. Okay. What a year a difference makes. And, it's also, I want to keep things into context because I think I'm sort of lucky, and our board is sort of lucky that we're no longer dealing with COVID. And so it makes things a lot easier. And I don't want to say we're no longer dealing with it, but it's taken a little bit different, a little bit less attention, I should say. And so it's really letting us do more things. And, we're in a rebuilding. We have our new leadership with Rabbi Siegel, with Wendy, and with our new board. So it's some exciting times. But when I look back at the past year, it's wow. We've had a new rabbi, a new executive director. We've hired a talented architecture firm to help us. We've improved our budget performance. We have reduced our dues relief for our budget. We've had increased ECC enrollment, greater engagement from all of our committee chairs, our volunteers. We've had a wonderful Cantors concert. We've re-engaged our youth and teens. Our membership is growing. You're going to hear more about that. And we're getting closer to our new home. So we've done a lot. And obviously we still have a lot more to do. We're always growing, trying to innovate. And Temple High is known for their innovation. And we're not going to stop at all. So hopefully you can see how we are concentrating on our membership, our programs, and our spiritual journeys. And we're doing all this while watching the budget. Okay. So, ready? Who wants to give me a drum roll? Okay. Okay, I got a little bit of a building update for you. Okay. First off, I'd like to thank Nathan Goldberg. He is our building committee chair, and Lisa Gildar, who's going to be heading up the design part of it. They have been really working hard. They have their committees in place, and they are ready to hit the ground running. So I appreciate all of your help, and I appreciate all your patience, because I know there's been moments of silence, and you say, well, what's going on? What are they doing? Are they just sitting on their hands? You know, all those concerns that everybody's had. And it's a process, and that's one thing I've learned, you know, in all my volunteer roles is everything is a process, and if you stick to the process, you should be pretty good. So I appreciate you understanding the process that we have to follow. So I'm pleased to tell you that I expect any day now to sign a contract. We have a letter of intent that's been accepted, and we're just waiting for the attorneys to get it to us. And once we get it, you know, we'll probably take, you know, I'm sure between the attorneys a week or 10 days to make sure all the I's are dotted and the T's crossed. But we have a property that we soon hope to be ours. Okay. So that's exciting. Okay. Yes. Okay. Okay. I also want to let you know, because I know everybody's always concerned about timelines. You know, how quick is this going to go? And we're going to spend about the next 4 months doing our research and our due diligence. Because I said we have, you know, a location that we want to, you know, move to, but we obviously have a lot of questions to ask, a lot of research to do, and during the next 4 months, that's what we're going to be doing. So we'll be looking at zoning issues. We'll be, you know, looking at design, the budget, finance, raising the money, all those things, just to make sure that it makes sense, because for a 4-month period, it's going to be non-binding. We don't have any money at risk, but that gives us the time to really do the research, make some decisions, and then the board will look at everything and then make a recommendation to the congregation. And our bylaws require that everybody in the congregation, you know, has to vote on it. And if we go through that process and everyone feels good about it, we will then have a new home to move into. So multiple steps along the way, but I feel very good. I know everybody knows there was a great disappointment earlier. I think this one is a little bit cleaner of an offer, and so I don't have some of the nervousness as maybe as I did on the last one. What's important that everybody understand is, you know, we still have to have some confidentiality, because what any campaign consultant will tell us as we, you know, launch a campaign to, you know, obviously pay for everything, is that, you know, you need to have time to develop the plans, and then the architect's going to give us some pretty pictures. We'll meet with our major donors, and I think, as everybody knows, you know, whenever you launch a big building, you want to make sure that you got, you know, a significant portion of your funds raised from your top donors. And so that's going to happen during the 4-month period, where we have maybe 10 or 12 people we're going to be speaking with, and we'll really determine, you know, are they in? Because obviously you need to build the foundation with these donors, and that's going to be our focus for the next, you know, during that 4-month period. Okay, so that is a little bit, you know, about the process. We're obviously going to be talking about people of wanting to, you know, name the sanctuary, name the social hall, name the campus. We're going to have so many naming opportunities for all price points. Okay, I don't think there's a, you know, a room or water fountain that won't be named. So everyone's going to be included in this, and it's just going to be, you know, we've been on a journey now, and the Messiah, the journey is going to be coming to an end, and with your help and a little bit of patience, we are going to be there. So hang in there. You'll be hearing more from us, but during that 4 months, while we're doing the research, it may be quiet, but then we're going to put together a whole report for you and let you know. I have to thank Bobby Kaplan. Bobby has, how many properties have you looked at? 40, okay. I told him, I said, I wish I could give him a mileage allowance. If I could, he would be a wealthy man. He's driven all over this area and, you know, helped us pre-screen it, brought it to the real estate committee, and so thank you for all the mileage, and we're going to get you a new set of tires, okay? So that is really, you know, the building update for you, okay? Okay. So I just want to briefly, go through just sort of a laundry list of, some of the priorities that the board hopes to focus on, for the coming year. And I have to tell Wendy, we're not going to be able to do all of them, but we're going to sort of prioritize. I don't want her to feel overwhelmed because she's our partner in making sure things get executed, with her team. But some of the things we, really want to focus on for the coming year is obviously moving into our new home. Governance. Our bylaws really haven't been touched in a long time, and there are some things that are outdated that need to be modernized, such as electronic meetings and things like that. If, God forbid, we have another, situation like COVID, we want to make sure the bylaws can address that. So we hope to, focus on that. We always know we can, improve our communications platform, the EHI. New technology comes out, things change, so we want to take a look at that, along with Michael Lawyer, who's helping us on the marketing and the communications. And another area that we've been, a little quiet on is we really haven't been promoting much of the Rabbi Circle as much as we should be. And so Don and Esther, they've agreed to help chair the Rabbi Circle. So I thank you so much for that, bringing some focus there. On average, I believe the statistic is every member contributes about $1,000 on average beyond their dues towards our fundraising. And so we obviously want to try to increase that number and do it in a meaningful way, and a way that recognizes the generosity of our donors. So along with Jeannie Duncan, the Shones are going to really be looking at the whole Rabbi Circle program. How does it, does it appeal to people? Is there different ways we should recognize people? What's the incentive for people to join? Are we offering them, events? All different ways to, take a look at that. But that's really a huge part of, helping us balance the budget, keep the temple running. So I appreciate your leadership, and I can tell you Don and Esther are the best at stewarding people. They know how to mentor and steward better than anybody else in town. So I look forward to that. Thank you. We're also going to, leadership development is really, really key. We want to make sure that we have a succession of people in the pipeline. We have got our, presidents lined up years in advance. There's other cities that I go to, and it's like, where you're going to be in leadership 10 years from now. I mean, it's unheard of, but there's no reason why we can't do that. And so that is really, really key. Membership retention, Alan and Amy Isaacson have been really working hard at trying to welcome, new members, and we're going to try to expand on that. And then finally, our due structure. There's all kinds of new ideas out there. Some make sense, some don't make sense. Some may make sense 3 years from now, 5 years from now, who knows? But something that we always want to make sure we're staying current and looking at things and not just letting things, coast. So that's just a little bit of a preview of some of the things, not all of them, but we're going to pick and choose. If you have any strong feelings about other areas that really need focus, let us know. If you think I'm forgetting something, let me know. And we definitely want to listen to any other ideas that should be on that list. I'm not going to steal much from Lori about the budget, but I would definitely like to thank Lori Brueggemann. She is the finance chair, and she's the outgoing one. So we are going to miss you. Thank you for all the time you've done on this the last number of years. We really appreciate it. Lori always speaks with a calm voice. She helps us, say, hey, you're overspending. You got to bring this in, whatnot. But she keeps all of us honest. So thank you so much. She's going to let you know, the details that we're going to go into. But really, through her leadership, through Zach and Wendy, the rabbi, I think we've really have instilled a culture of trying to have some control on expenses and really have everybody own, their own budgets. And it's starting to pay off. We're seeing it, the deficit that we have, and we will continue to have a deficit for a couple years. It's definitely, under control, okay? And people ask me, the question is, what does it take to close the deficit? And really the biggest thing is membership. If each one of you brought a cousin, aunt, uncle, a neighbor, a friend to Temple, and if we picked up 20 members every year and did that for a couple years, 2-3 years, along with some increased ECC enrollment, we really wouldn't have a deficit. Most of our costs, as you're going to see in the budget, are salaries, payroll. It takes people to run the temple, along with programming costs. But I'm convinced with the growth we've had right now, which has been phenomenal, there is no other temple in town that can talk about picking up 10% or 12% membership growth, 50 members. We've had, I think, since July. It's unheard of. I go to events and people say, "What's going on there?" Because nobody can claim that. So, I have to thank the rabbi, the clergy team, because that's why people choose us, and that's what makes us special is their leadership and the love that everybody brings, their spirituality, our social action, and that's what makes Temple High unique. So, if we could just each, take some responsibility in trying to grow our membership, that's how we're going to close the budget. There's only a certain amount of expenses that we can cut, and we're obviously really running things to the T right now, as our staff is very, very, dedicated and working endless hours for all of us. So you're going to hear from Lori pretty soon, but that's just my little take. I didn't want to take any thunder from her, but I think things are looking up. The good news is we have our PPP ERC money, so there's no panic over the next couple of years. We've got a nice cushion that can get us through this as we continue to rebuild and grow and recover from the pandemic with our new leadership. I'm very confident we're going to be one of the healthiest temples in the valley here. So with that, I am going to. Rabbi, are you covered? Or? I think that was. Okay. Yep. That's what I thought. Want to make sure. Okay. So now I'm going to call on Alan Zaitchik. Alan is going to give our report on the leadership development. Thank you so much, Alan.
Thank you, David, and hi, everyone. Hello, everybody out there in television land. So David asked me to chair the Board Development Committee, and one of the things that we do is we take care of the nominations, and we present a board, a slate, but which if we have a quorum tonight, we'll vote on. If we don't have a quorum tonight, they get approved automatically. Isn't that wonderful? So we have some changes. So we have 3 members of our board who are leaving the board, and they are Brett Kurland, as David mentioned, Jeff Kravitz, and Mandy Watkins, and I'd like to thank them very much for their years of contributions to helping make this a wonderful place. Board members at Temple High are elected for 2-year terms. So this year we'll be adding some, but others will be staying on. The ones who are, let me back up for a second. So we have members can be on the board. They're elected for 2-year terms. They can stay on the board for up to 8 years, so 4 terms. The nominating committee have asked 4 of them to stay on for an additional term, at least. And they are Lori Brueggemann, Leah Plosker, Bobby Kaplan, and Dedrick Cohen. We have also nominees to fill positions. We have, I mentioned 3 board members who are rolling off. You notice that there are 5 names up there. We had some vacant seats from before. And so the nominees are Josh Mantell, Jesse Goodsell, Elizabeth Keith, John Thompson, and Diana Bookbinder. And so that is the slate of nominees, and I don't believe we have a quorum. So therefore, welcome to the board. Another function of the board nominating committee, of the board development committee, the nomination role, is to recommend the officers of the congregation. And those are also elected, but again, we don't have a quorum, so there they are. And these are chosen by the nominating committee with the advice and guidance of David, because of the strong feeling the nominating committee had that a president should have a great deal of say in the officers that he works with. And they are David to stay on for a 2nd year as president, myself, yay. Myself as vice President of Administration, which is this kind of thing. And the Vice President of Administration also serves as our Corporate Secretary. Leah Plosker as Vice President of Education. Betsy Zangara to take over as the new VP of Finance, aka the Treasurer. And again, thank you, Lori, for really doing an outstanding job. And also on the Executive Committee, so as Vice Presidents at Large, are Bobby Kaplan, Megan Kramer, and Jonathan Miller. So thank you, everyone. David, back to you.
Thank you, Alan. One of the things that makes me so proud to be a member here is the diversity. And I was looking at you got to look at the webpage every so often because it's always updated. But when I looked at it, I was like, wow, that's so cool. You know, it's just diverse, whether it's gender, whether it's color, whether it's, I mean, every which way. And it's just nice that we have such a welcoming community. And when we look at this slate, we've got ages, you know, older, younger people, every demographic we want to cover. So that's what makes Temple High so special. So I just love it, and thank you for all the work, Alan, on that. Okay. Before I call Lori up to do the budget, I just had one comment I forgot to mention when we talked about the building, because the other question I always get is like, how soon are we going to move in? And so I thought I might as well, you know, say now, I know Wendy was speaking to the architect a couple of weeks ago, and we were trying to decide, you know, when could we, you know, break ground. And so it was sounding like, you know, February, March, if things, you know, go on schedule. And that talks about permitting and all those, you know, things that have to happen. And then, you know, that would probably, you know, be, you know, another, you know, based on some earlier estimates, perhaps, you know, 8 to 10 months of construction. So we are looking good as far as, you know, making sure we move on time. We're very sensitive to that. And I think I mentioned earlier that Wendy, the rabbi, and I had already met with SCA to let them know what, you know, our situation was, and, you know, they're very understanding. So nobody needs to panic. We're hitting our calendar, our schedule, and we'll all know when the shovel's in the ground. And obviously there can be delays that can happen, but we're going to say a lot of prayers so that doesn't happen. So with that, I'm going to ask Lori to come up and present the budget. Thank you so much.
You're tall, I'm short. Okay, a lot of you know that this is not my forte, so you'll have to bear with me. I'm honored to have been Temple High's VP of Finance for over the last 3 years. We've been through a lot together, and I'm committed to being transparent as we present the board-reviewed and approved budget for 2023-24. I know many of you are concerned that we have not presented a balanced budget for the past couple of years. This budget still shows the temple operating at a loss, but want to be realistic and not oversell something to the congregation. The board, clergy, senior staff are all on the same page and are doing everything for our temple community to get us to a balanced budget. David has been our leader in making all efforts as transparent as possible, and that goes for the budget as well. At our last annual meeting, my message was the same as this year. It's going to take time to get us to a balanced budget. Prior to Zach's departure, David, Rabbi Siegel, myself, and Virginia had very lengthy discussions about every line item on the financials. We reviewed the programs that were not profitable and worked on getting them to a break-even or positive cash flow for this coming year. Some of our programs will never be profitable, for example, the religious school, but we are working to get to where our consolidated budget will be balanced. Lori, I'm sorry, for example, religious school. Just like our personal budgets, our business has been impacted by inflation this past year. While inflation in Arizona is over 8%, the temple needed to do something to close the gap with the additional increase in its expenses. Okay, sorry, short. We have increased the dues for the temple and registration for the ECC by 5%. These increases still leave the temple in a negative situation, but at the same time help with our increased costs due to inflation. The biggest change from our current budget is the loss of the ECC grant of $228,000 and the new expense of having to pay rent starting in December of 2023. The ECC grant was no longer available to apply for, so we are looking at other opportunities for sources of income. As has been mentioned in previous communications by David and others, we're working with a professional grant writer, a volunteer of course, to explore all options for increased revenues. The 5% increase in dues and our estimated growth in membership help increase our revenue for membership and fees to the $1,053,850 that you see on the slide. This is an increase of 9% over this current year's budget. Our congregants on dues relief have decreased from almost 40% down to 28%, which has also helped to close the gap on our deficit. However, we are aware that dues relief is still a necessity for many in our community. The 5% ECC tuition increase and accounting for growth in enrollment increases the revenue for the ECC to the $1,047,013 you see on the slide. This is an increase of 15% over our current year's budget. On a positive note, we do have the ERC money. That, as of now, has not been touched. As we are currently in the leaner months for the temple, I believe we are in a good position and there will not be a need to dip into those ERC funds. The plan is to stretch those funds for at least 3 years to help balance the budget. We are tracking well for this current fiscal year. Our anticipated net loss for this fiscal year was $53,000. As of the end of February, our revenues are exceeding our budget by almost $140,000, or a 7% increase over budget, while our expenses are at break even to budget. At that pace, I'm hoping we can get to close to break even for the current fiscal year. Regarding the sale proceeds from the building, we wanted to reassure you that we are being good stewards of the funds and have invested them in FDIC-insured CDs. While they are not giving us huge returns on our money, it is providing some extra cash that has been restricted and will not be used for any operational expenses. Soon, Jonathan Miller, Virginia, David, Wendy, and I will be refocusing our time on our framework for the future budget to model different scenarios based on increases in the number of congregants and the potential for increases in ECC students, with the intention of determining what it's going to take to get to a balanced budget. This is my third and final annual meeting as the VP of Finance. You will be in very capable hands with my successor, Betsy Zangara. She brings many years of accounting and consulting experience and has grown up in the temple. She is very passionate about continuing our progress with an eye on being fiscally responsible as well as working towards a balanced budget. Thank you. Did anybody have any questions? I guess I could try to answer them if you had any questions with regard to the budget. Good for me. Right?
Okay. Thank you.
You know, yeah, I just want to say fabulous job. As a past president, fabulous job.
Thank you, Lori. Appreciate it. Yep. And it is amazing, I mean, to know that how we're going to be ending this year, and we're still preserving that money. So hats off to everybody. You guys have stepped when it comes to your dues. You've stepped up to the plate at the gala, and just bring in some members now, and we'll continue that trajectory. And I know we can get there without a doubt. I'd like to introduce, for those that don't know, Wendy Cohen, our executive director.
So I just want to say I do have big feet. It's okay to jump in with both feet. So, because I heard it twice tonight, I have very long feet, so it's all good. So believe it or not, this is only week 9, and I'm still smiling, and I'm still standing, and I'm still meeting people, so please bear with me as I continue my journey with all of you. My husband recently noted when I come home every day, he asks me about my day, and I tell him, oh, I had this meeting, I had that meeting, I'm meeting with congregants, I'm meeting with each board member so they get to know me a little bit better, and then I found out there are like 4,000 different subcommittees that you all are part of. So I'm meeting with many of you, and I tell him about my day, and he remarked and said, and you're still coming home smiling. So that means a lot to me. I truly believe myself and my family have found a true home here with all of you, and thank you for welcoming me. So I kind of just told you what I've been doing, really meeting with a lot of people and attending a lot of meetings and diving down deep and meeting with the staff to really understand what's working, what's not working, what processes need to be changed, what processes need to be put in place. All this while trying to learn very quickly as we gear up for things like the dues and renewal, and oh, by the way, a little move up the road a bit or down the road or wherever we're going. I'm not telling. So I don't have a lot to report because so much was reported already tonight, but we are growing. Everyone has mentioned this prior to me up here. We're a growing community, and I think that says so much about all of you and the clergy and our board and the staff, and we're doing it right. We're doing something that really appeals to people. We had, as was mentioned earlier, as of yesterday, we have 502 members, so that's about 10% growth over the past year. And I think having a new rabbi, I think having such dedicated teachers and staff, a dedicated board and volunteers, it means the world to the community. The religious school just finished this weekend. They just concluded with lots of fun and excitement. There were 156 students in a religious school this year, representing 94 families, which was up from 148 students last year. That is a 5% increase over the previous year. So I think as we've come out of COVID and people are hearing the buzz about all the great things we do, we're just going to see those numbers go up. Our ECC had 88 children enrolled, which was up from 82 the prior year. That was a 7% increase, if my math is correct. Registrations, last time I checked with Leah last week, we were at 79. We may have gotten more than that since then. With the new budget, our goal is to bump that up to 95. And wherever we go, wherever our future home is, we're going to include additional space for a couple more classrooms so that we continue to grow. So please get out there, talk about us in the community, talk about the school, talk about the religious school. So just thank you for everything, and I want to tell you I'm so excited to be part of this community again, and I look forward to taking those steps with my feet with all of you and when we move soon, so thank you.
Any new business, any other questions that anybody wants to ask? Steve? Do you mind the microphone, Steve, for those at home?
So I just asked to confirm that the total congregants we have now is 502? 502 households. Okay. And David, during the 4 months, can they back out? Since
Yes,
we've been there before.
Yeah, it's non-binding, and so that's the risk we take because we don't have any money on the table, and they could also do that. But okay, I'm going to get you clarification. Okay. Yep.
Not a question.
Yes.
You had a goal of making things more transparent. You succeeded in doing that tremendously, and we all appreciate it.
Well, thank you. Thanks. Okay. Thank you. I appreciate it very much, but we'll confirm with you, okay? Thank you. Great. Any other questions or thoughts?
That is
Nora?
to say that I think one other person has done some fantastic work during the couple of years that we have been hanging together. And I sing in the choir, and I can tell you that that man has cried with us, he's laughed with us, he's really hung in there. Cantor Woolman, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Great. Okay. Any other questions, thoughts?
I just thought
Michael.
it'd be nice if we could have the new board members stand up and be recognized.
Good
So our
point.
con-
Thank you. Yeah. Can you all do that, please? Thank you. Okay. Great. Great. Okay. If there's nothing else, I'm going to let you take a look at the closing picture. What are those? Okay. Shovels. Okay. So, once again, I'd like to thank you for coming out. I thank you for your patience, your understanding, your support. Let's grow the membership as we continue on. Let's take advantage of all the wonderful programming, and let's just be grateful for each other and our friendships with all. Thank you.